So hello everybody, thank you for joining me. Please turn off your videos. It's nice to see you there, but better let's hold the line for my presentation. Thank you for joining me. Let's get started. For other latecomers, pity to say, but they will not hear the beginning of the presentation. So what are we going to talk about today is software systems modernization, and that it's a better option to replacement of your softwares you have right now. Shortly about me, my name is Michal Petřík, hard to spell in other language than Czech or Slovak. I've got 15 plus years experience in the field, and of course, if you want to contact me, please use the links and contacts you see below. And that's all for now, because you can find a lot about me on LinkedIn or other sources. And let's see what we have today here. So the first thing is about challenges we face in software systems modernization. Then solving such challenges is about finding the right approach. So we will touch a few hints, a few options how to face your problems. And of course, I will show one case study we did and which were really successful. During this webinar, we will use platform called slido.com. So please, I'll give you a few seconds. If you can, please go to slido.com or scan the QR code or fill in the code 2854, and you can vote, you can ask questions, you can do a lot of stuff you will see during my webinar. So please use it, because I would really like to have this session a bit interactive. We are all stuck in our homes, maybe lying in a bed and watching a webinar, but it's good to know that someone is listening and reacting to my questions. Okay, so let's move on. What are the typical challenges in our businesses? During my webinar, I will use a lot of Gartner graphics. You can think about Gartner what you want, but the truth is that they can describe a lot of complex things in the most simplest way possible. So for example, this is a simplification of our daily businesses. We have shareholders, we have regulators, we have employees, we have suppliers, and of course, we have customers. And regards to software systems modernization, very often we are interested in this part. I mean, that's about customers. We have our systems with a lot of data. We know a lot about the customers, but usually there is a problem how to provide the data to the customers, how to connect them with the company, how to make better user experience. So usually this is the part where the pain is, when our systems are not up to date, not fit for purpose anymore, and so on. So discussion today is about this part. It's about customers and the systems related to our customers. So let's try the first interactive polling today. Please go to slido.com and tell me or tell us where do you see the challenges today? Or for example, what are typical challenges in your business you see today? And please don't be shy. The voting is totally anonymous, so no one knows, and you can write almost anything. So go to slido.com, code is 2854, and you can vote. You can share your thoughts about it. So what do you think are typical business challenges we face today? Okay, aging technologies, nice one. I don't know who, but thank you very much for sharing your thoughts. Lack of business support, pretty hard. Maybe interesting to know what you mean by business support. One more, please, and we can move on. and definitely I will tell you about more challenges we face. So aging technologies, lack of business support. Okay, I want to be stuck here. So in next questions, please be more supportive. Then I can feel that we are doing at least something that interests you. And fast emerging fintech. Okay, we have to keep up with our opponents, with our competition, and that's really important. So let's see where we see the typical challenges. Of course, poor digital business support. So we have to have new business models, we have to have new products, new channels, for example, chatbots or some AI, and our systems are not able to provide it. So that's bad. Uh, Another thing is changing requirements. For example, we started with a really good system, but 10 years ago in a back office, and now we want to provide the same services to front office. And definitely the content is great, but the UX is not. So maybe the system is not fit for purpose anymore, as poor UX and so on. High pace of change. As you mentioned, fintech companies, they are eager startups, they are good at their jobs, they are small, they are agile, and in our environments, usually it's slow to change, risky and costly, and we have to keep up our business. So high pace of change is another challenge. Compliance risks. New regulations come and go. We have to change our systems, and maybe we face a change where it's not so easy to do it. For example, when you pay to another bank, it has to be in 24 hours. With many systems, it's okay, but sometimes our platforms are not built for this purpose, and we have to find some detours or shortcuts. And unsupported platforms or skills shortage. We have good old systems, but people willing to participate in development, they are scarce. So then we can have compliance risks. And last but not least, maintenance costs. Sometimes we have really huge technical debts because of many reasons, poor code quality, and every change is really risky, really costly. And sometimes the development team doesn't dare to change the system. They are not willing to do it because they know there are hidden problems. A question may arise, and that's how has it happened? How is it possible that we are here? We have really big system. We have invested a lot, but now it's not fit for purpose. It's not agile. It's not fast. It costs a lot, and so on. So how has it happened? Usually, the reasons are not so bad. For example, we started in one country, in Czech Republic, in Austria, in Germany, whatever, but our business is successful, and so we are now rolled out to 7 countries. But we aimed for the business and not for the system. So the system was designed only for one country. For example, localization, number of users, and so on. That's a completely different story. So yes, we are successful, we are in 7 countries, but our system was not designed for it. Another thing is business has grown. That's great. Again, we have new products, we have new clients, we have new platforms, but the system is still the same. So another reason, requirements have shifted, system has not. For example, a back office system now on mobile phones in many countries in real time, and no daily imports on huge loads during the night, but we have to have it nearly real time. So the requirements are completely different, or non-functional requirements, for example, number of users, performance, security, and so on. But the system hasn't simply followed that. Another aspect can be your development team size. As I mentioned, startups are really fast, really agile, because maybe they are only 10, and in a group of 10 people, everything is clear. You know each other, it's a small family, but as you grow, now we are 50, maybe you are 100, you are 250, and so on, and each size have a completely different dynamic, and you have to keep up with the dynamic. For example, the first break point is about 20, then about 50, 100, 500. And each time you have to do a bit of transformation of your processes, of the approach you are taking, and that's it. And last but not least, technical debt used to be acceptable and reasonable. At the beginning, you have to be on the market quickly. You are a startup or new product, so okay, we will take a shortcut. But then it's not a shortcut, that's a daily business. And at the beginning, it wasn't a problem, but now it imposes business risks. So yeah, here you see 5 top issues we see in this field. But now I'm really eager to know, what do you think? So for example, what is your situation? What are you thinking? Or are we hitting the target? So are you here because of the problems I have on this slide or not? So please share your thoughts. Tell us, is it about more countries? Is it about business growth? Okay, requirements have shifted. Capacity, technical debt. Okay. No more countries. Fair enough. Or development capacity. Okay, few more seconds. So right now, the sole winner is requirements have shifted. Okay, nice share. But here you see the results. I would say that's our daily business. And in a few slides later, I will tell you why, because it's not related only to our legacy systems or older systems, but it's totally related also to our new systems built on a green field. So thank you very much. As you see, this is the result, and yeah, this is our daily business. Business has grown, requirements are different, we don't have capacity, and we have a really huge technical debt. I asked you a question, how has it happened? Another aspect is, why has it happened? Usually in business, you know, we are trying to find the root cause. I don't want to say blame someone because blame culture is always wrong, but why has it happened? What was the reason? How can we not do it? How can we improve it the next time? The answer is not so positive, but that's simply the truth. A lot of harmless decisions along the way. So one shortcut here, one shortcut there. This time we will accept it, but the next time we will do better, but the next time never comes. And that's the problem. So we are slowly boiling the frog. If you know the story, it's very popular among ITs. If you are going to boil a frog at once and throw it into boiling water, the frog jumps out. But if you are starting at, let's say, 24 degrees and heating and heating and heating, at the end you boil the frog. Actually, I think that's a terrible story, but really you can visualize it and everyone understands it. So this is boiling the frog. A lot of harmless decisions at the moment, they are completely reasonable, but in a long run, something is wrong. So you have your system, you are not satisfied, it's slow to change, it costs you a lot, it's risky, and so on and so forth. So then, okay, I have enough. It's time to replace. Let's throw it out of the window and buy something new. It will be better, faster, with more glamour, better UX, and a lot of stuff. Okay, let's analyze it for a while. Again, a bit of Gartner, but a really great description here. Usually, when we face such problems regarding our older systems, we have 2 parts. On one part is obviously business, because business has to be there. That's obvious. And business is interested in fit for purpose, business value the system brings, and of course, agility. And there are related things such as digital business support, changing requirements, higher pace of change, and so on. And on the other hand, we have, of course, IT. No system can be operated without IT. So IT is usually interested in costs, complexity, and risk. And many related things such as technical debt, technologies, aging technologies, unsupported platforms, and so on. So in general, we are talking about these two parts, and from the perspective of the system, we can simplify a bit again, but it's really necessary in this part. Let's say that we have three characteristics of our systems. We have functionality, we have architecture, and we have technology perspective. It's a real simplification, but it helps. And the truth is that in majority of cases, when there is a problem in a functionality, it's not fit for purpose, it doesn't bring the value and so on, it relates to business. If there is a problem with technology, usually that's IT problems, so old platform, WebLogic, WebSphere, and so on, JBoss, but actually business doesn't care, they want to have the functionality. And if there is a problem with architecture, actually architecture is the queen of software engineering. So I mean, if you have problems in architecture, business and IT, they both have problems, and vice versa. If you are hitting things in architecture, you are influencing the other part. So that's the playground. We have functionality, architecture, technology, and two stakeholders, business and IT. And yeah, the question is, why bother and not just replace? First thing to consider, and here I want to clarify, sometimes replacing is just the only option you should take, and it's completely okay. But before you do it, you should consider at least the next three items I will present. The first is cost, risk, and impact. Ripping and replacing a whole system is never easy. If anyone says it's easy, it's not. It's never easy. It costs a lot, it's risky, it's time consuming, and it usually has impact to the business. Imagine you have a system that your employees or colleagues have been operating for 10 plus years, and now you are going to replace it with something new. Some onboarding process has to be there. And again, it's about money, about risk, about time consumption. So replacing a big older system, legacy system, is never an easy task, and it implies cost, risk, and impact. That's the first thing. Another thing is business cannot wait, because replacing such a system is not a task for 1 month or 1 year. Usually it's 1+ or 2+ years, and it means that at the moment, at the time being, you will have to support the old system because your business cannot wait, and you will also have to implement the new system. So at the end, you will be paying twice. That's the truth. If you are able to do it, or if you accept it, no problem. But be aware that it will take some time, and then you will have to wait or support both systems at the moment. And last but not least, no one can predict future. You are buying software now, and you know you will have it in 1+ years. It means that the features you order now and some new features you will see after a year. Okay, agile methodologies and so on, you will see a lot of prototypes. Okay, but still, after 1+ year, you will see the results, it will be operating. So it means that after 1 year, you will have features you ordered now. So maybe the system will not be up to date, and it's really hard to predict and design services upfront. Maybe the market after 1+ year will be a bit different or completely different. So that's another thing to consider. And please bear in mind that continuous modernization applies also to new systems. I will touch a bit the first item, cost, risk, and impact. Sometimes we imagine old systems such as monoliths. If you are familiar with this picture or with this monolith, that's from 2001 Space Odyssey by Arthur C. Clarke. I love that novel, but actually that doesn't describe a monolithic system at all, because it would imply that such a system has clear boundaries. So we know where it starts and where it ends. And this is simply not the reality. What is more proper description is, for example, this map of night Europe, we see the cities, we see big cities, our big systems, but where does it end? So imagine we are going to switch off power grid in such a city, and which part will be black and which parts remain with light? No one can say, really, no one can say, because big monolithic systems are about integrations, about application integrations and data integrations, about imports, about many other impacts and connections to other systems. And you will have to deal with every such a connection and system. Okay, so let's see what to do with continuous modernization. Here the key point is to identify so-called friction point, so focus on the most problematic part. Again, one graphic from Gartner, and that's a great demonstration of this approach. Let's imagine our legacy application, which has many parts: product planning, pricing, channel management, reseller, order tracking, and so on. And when we identify or analyze such a system, we see that product planning is maybe not the best product planning in the world, but for our current situation, that's good. Product marketing and roadmap, okay. Channel management, okay. Customer account, okay. But we have a few problematic parts here: pricing, opportunity management, sales compensation, and order tracking. So those are our friction points, and we have to do something about it. For example, we can replace pricing, this part. Here we can introduce some kind of APIs. Fair enough. But as you can see, each friction point needs a different approach. And again, what are the options? As we saw, we have technology, perspective, architecture, and functionality. And each perspective needs a different approach. For example, old technology, we can encapsulate it, introduce a new API, and we are done. Or we can move it to cloud if there are problems with performance. Maybe the platform is old, and here I mean, for example, Java 1.6, and now we have Java 14. So maybe we have changed platform and so on, or from WebSphere to WebLogic, or from .NET to .NET Core, and many other examples. But here we are hitting mostly technology part. If we introduce other approaches such as refactoring, re-architecting, rebuilding, or replacing, we are hitting also functionality and architecture. So actually, the most important part is here. If we want to modernize and change architecture or introduce new functionalities, we should consider the right part of this graphic. That's one description of the situation, and Gartner provides also another one. And here you see our perspective, technology, architecture, functionality, and all these approaches, and also costs and risks. Each perspective is evaluated from the perspective of the impact. So for example, encapsulation with technology, poor impact, poor, but replacement regarding technology, architecture, and functionality has really strong impact on all these perspectives. But we have also the right part of the graphic, and that's the cost and risk. And here cost is also about time, and the risk is obvious. High the number, the problematic part we have. So I mean, if we are talking about rebuilding, usually that's more costly than re-architecting, and that's also more risky than, for example, re-platforming. So again, if we are living in this part, please consider all those pros and cons, because, for example, replacement can be an option because it will help us with technology, architecture, functionality, but that has the highest cost, and it also means time. It will consume your time. So can you wait? And again, back to my previous slides, and 3 items you should consider before replacing a system. Let's go to this slide. And I want to say that your new systems may maybe your legacy systems too. So what does it mean? That sometimes you think, okay, I have a brand new system, so I'm done. For the next 2-3 years, I have a lot of time and I can wait. I don't have to invest. So sometimes with our customers, we hear we are going to have a new system, therefore no further investments. Sorry to say, but this assumption is absolutely wrong. And I will tell you why. Let's describe it with a small graphic. Here we have a timeline. And let's say that on the left side, at the beginning, our system is perfectly fit for purpose. It brings the value we need, and it brings a lot of agility, so everything is fast and quick. But along the years, along the months, fit for purpose value and agility slowly declines. It means if we keep the investments for maintenance and we don't invest in new features, we don't keep the modernization running, it declines. On the other hand, we have costs, complexity, and risks. And as you see, it slowly rises along the way. And if the orange line is linear, I can see it's linear, and it slowly declines. Cost, complexity, and risk, they are more exponential. And there are two interesting milestones along this timeline. The first milestone is at point of the year 3 of your system. And here, as you can see, what you spend for maintenance of your system, cost, complexity, and risk is somewhere about a half of fit for purpose, value, and agility. And the second milestone is year 5, where the two lines cross. So since this point, you are paying only for complexity, risk, and simply said, to keep the system running, but without more investments in modernization and keeping the system up to date, you are in the same river again. It means you have the same problems you had beforehand. So please bear in mind, new systems need to be continuously modernized too, unless you want to have the same problem every few years. And actually everything is connected. Imagine your brand new team at the beginning of your system at the year 1. In new technology, everyone is happy with the technology, with the processes, everything. But at year 3, if you don't modernize, your team will be bored, because that's only maintenance. There are no new technologies. There is no modernization. And in year 5, I can guarantee that your team will be completely different, because the original members of the team will be gone, because there will be no modernization. Please, one last poll. Please share your thoughts and tell us how old are your core systems. And I mean, you have a lot of systems, but your major systems, are they brand new, less than 3 years, or are they 3 to 5 years, 5 to 10, 10 to 15? 10 to 15, nice one, thank you very much. 5 to 10, not bad. 3 to 5. Is there anyone with 15 plus years? It would really interest me, so I'm eager to know. But okay, let's see that the majority is 3 to 5 and 10 to 15. So the first group is in the period between 3 and 5 years. So here I would say, please think about modernization, make it more interesting for the development team and change the direction. Don't do just maintenance, but invest in the modernization, because at year 5, maybe you will face new challenges, I can say. 10 to 15 years, definitely consider what you can do and start with friction points and see what can be done, and maybe replacement is the only option, but I hope I've told you that sometimes there are other options. At the beginning, I also promised one use case, and it's about, really shortly, about BNP Paribas. And BNP Paribas Cardiff is an insurance company. The story goes back to 2012. They had one system in 3 countries, sorry, but they were not happy with the system, and the vendor at the time being was a small company, not able to grow and also not willing to grow. And they faced a decision, okay, should we replace it or should we modernize it? And due to a lot of discussions starting February to March 2013, Profinit did the system assessment, and we said, okay, we would propose, let's modernize it, because you have a lot of knowledge inside the system. The system is not so bad as you might think, and we can do a lot of things about it. So since March till July 2013, we applied another approach, which is called our takeover methodology, but that's another story. But we did a transition to Profinit team, and in July 2013, we were in full operation with the system and with our team, and we started the modernization. That led to many things, for example, better software quality, all those software engineering principles applied, and so on. So in 2016, we were able to roll out to 4 new countries. We changed the process of change management, issue management, demand management, and such things. And in April 2020, we are engaging new countries. So we are rolling to more countries. So as you can see, a system from 2012 still operating in 2020, and the customer is happy with it. It's operational, it works in other countries, and that's the story. And the system is now up to date, and the customer also saved a lot of money because they didn't throw it out of the window, but they kept the system. They has been keeping the system and maintaining, modernizing it. Okay, so we are at the end. Let's get a short summary. Sometimes replacement is the only option, but please think twice before ripping out and replacing such a system, because maybe there are other options to consider, and it can save your time, money, and sometimes also your nerves. Continuous modernization offers a lot more options, and at least it will help you to analyze your system, to know the status of your current system, and sometimes that's a really good outcome to have. You know, with a new system, you will have to do the same thing too, because usually the documentation is great, but maybe not so great as we might need. So we have to analyze it, reverse engineer, and so on. So maybe it can be a really good output of this initiative. How to modernize? Every time, please find the real root cause, such as friction point. Find the pain, choose the best strategy, plan, execute, evaluate, and repeat. And slowly, step by step. Do not do revolution, do evolution. And last but not least, please modernize continuously, also with the new systems, and make sure that everybody understands it. Because if you resign on continuous modernization, it will have many implications. Maybe you will face the same problems in the next few years. You will have problems with your staffing because of old technologies and so on. So it's not only about old systems, it's also about the new systems. Okay, so we are at the end. Now there's space for your questions. I was a bit longer than expected, but if you have any questions, I'm sure we have a few spare minutes to answer them. So if you have any questions, do not hesitate to write it now, or if it's something you don't want to share with other participants, please contact us www.profinit.eu or through LinkedIn, Twitter, whatever, or my email. So I will wait a few seconds, and if there are no questions, I'm very grateful that you are here. Okay, so two questions at once. Do you think that any systems can be modernized? Yeah, a lot of our customers ask that often. The story goes, okay, I understand you, but in our case, it's not possible. I don't think so. The first step is to see what is possible and what is not. So, for example, we start with so-called system assessment. It takes from a few weeks to units of months. For example, the maximum was 2 months. There is our team, and we see everything in the system. We see source code, so we review software engineering principles, the processes, the current status, for example, number of issues, change requests you have in line or you have in queue, and then we can tell you what to do. And actually, in my opinion, I think that really, every system can be modernized in a specific way. So it depends on your needs, because sometimes you have really great ideas, but then there are some regulatory restrictions, and you see that in 2 years you will have to be done, and it means you cannot dare replacing because it's too risky. So you modernize, and then also a small modernization can help you for the replacement in the future. So yes, here I think every system can be modernized. I would slightly disagree. Customers will see features in 1 year. Yeah, actually, I understand your point. Yeah, you can see prototypes, you are agile, you can do iterative development. So maybe you're adding, and then you are completely happy. But here the question is, the features you see in parallel with your old system, is it enough? Does it mean that you don't have to invest twice? Does it mean that you don't have to pay for the team with the new features, with the new system, and with the team that's responsible for the old system? Actually, many times that's not our experience. If you decide to do it this way, usually there is some kind of an overlap that you have to pay twice. And if we are thinking about one feature, for example, I don't know, some questionnaire, whatever, then definitely implementation in your old system will be a bit different than in your new system. And it means that the analysis you will have to do twice, and maybe the implementation will be totally different. So, okay, definitely with agile methodologies, you can see the new features along the way. The question here is it enough? Do you see enough features? Are enough features implemented in production? Does it satisfy you? If yes, then no problem at all. But if your story is, okay, I see new features, I'm happy with it, but I have to implement the same features in my old system, then maybe that's one point to consider. Okay, so I think we are at the end of the questions. No more questions at the moment. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for being so active. I hope you did enjoy it. If you did, please answer to our questionnaire we will send in a few minutes or hours, I don't know, and rate this webinar so we can improve it for the next time. And again, thank you very much. It was a pleasure, and see you the next time. Thank you. Bye.